Hold on! Kale roared as the cavern roof collapsed around us. The mechanical glider shot forward, bursting out of the crumbling cave. We launched straight into the roaring emerald storm, heavy metal fighting gravity. The wind is too strong! We're losing altitude! I screamed over the gale. Don't just scream, pull the left lever! He barked from the front seat. I strained, yanking the freezing steel bar with all my strength. The left wing titled, violently slicing through a dense, toxic green mist. My stomach dropped as the glider plummeted into a terrifying spin. You're overcorrecting! Trust the steel! He yelled, slamming his hand over mine. Together, we desperately pulled back, forcing the nose of the machine upward. The rusted joints shrieked, threatening to tear apart under the pressure. But slowly, the metal beast leveled out, riding the chaotic updraft. We did it, I breathed out, wiping the ash from my eyes. Don't celebrate yet. Look down, Kale muttered grimly. The tracking falcon wasn't just following us anymore. It had magically multiplied. 3 red lasers pierced the heavy mist, locking directly onto our hull. 3 red targeting lasers locked onto our metal hull, painting us for death. They sent a swarm? Kale scoffed, banking the glider hard left. A flurry of magical energy blasts tore through the empty space we just occupied. I guess the Inquisition really hates loose ends, I shouted back. The lead falcon dove from above, its steel talons extended for our main rotor. Lyra, take the stick, he yelled, letting go of his controls. Before I could argue, he stood up on the shaking wing. Are you insane? You'll fall! He pulled his freezing steel blade, the edge glowing with a faint, stolen mana. The mechanical bird shrieked, lunging straight for his chest. With a brutal upward arc, Kale sliced clean through the falcon. The drone exploded into a shower of sparks and falling metal, but the victory was a lethal distraction. The second drone rammed directly into our tail stabilizer. A sickening crunch echoed through the sky as our primary steering joint snapped. We lost all lift, the nose of our glider plunging toward the darkest cloud layer. We're going down to the azure abyss, Kale shouted, grabbing his harness. The emerald sky vanished, replaced by an absolute, terrifying blue darkness. We were stripped of the emerald sky, instantly swallowed by an absolute, terrifying blue darkness. Brace yourself! We are entering the crush zone! Kale roared over the deafening, violent wind. The altimeter is shattering! How deep are we going? I screamed back, clinging desperately to my freezing harness. But we didn't hit solid stone. The shattered glider slammed horizontally into a suspended ocean of freezing, bioluminescent mist. The metal groaned loudly underneath us as the brutal cold instantly pierced straight to my core. Kale finally dropped the useless controls. He didn't say a word, just pointed a bruised finger into the crushing dark. Massive, glowing shadows drifted silently past our shattered wings. The bottom of the world wasn't dead. It was patiently waiting for prey. Our ruined hull finally skidded to a violent halt atop a reef of jagged, glowing blue crystals. I caught my breath and pressed my hand against the freezing stone, but instead of cold, a sickening familiarity rushed up my arm. My skin turned dull gray. It feels exactly like Orion, I whispered, violently snatching my hand back. Kale stepped to the edge of the jagged cliff, his golden eyes narrowing in pure disgust. This is not a natural formation, Lyra. This is a graveyard of stolen magic. Deep in the gorge, a mechanical monolith violently pulsed, draining the sheer color and life from the surrounding atmosphere. The greyout wasn't a cursed plague or a random disease. It was an industrial harvest, and we had just stepped into the slaughterhouse. The deep, mechanical humming of the central monolith vibrated right through my bones as we crept deeper into the ruins. Lyra, I can't feel the sunlight anymore. My breath completely stopped. That impossible, fragile voice cut through the dark. It was my brother. Do not listen to it, Kale hissed, violently pulling his blade. The abyss analyzes intruders. It feeds entirely on your most painful memories. No, he's here! I shouted, blindly pushing past him toward the ash-colored silhouette hiding in the fog. Orion, I'm right here. The shadow turned to face me, but it didn't have my brother's soft eyes. It possessed a hollow, rusted mechanical skull, and it shrieked my name. The rusted mechanical skull snapped its jaws, missing my face by a single, terrifying inch. The illusion of my brother instantly shattered. I kicked hard into its glowing metallic chest, desperately stumbling backward onto the freezing stone bridge. Before the monster could strike again, cold steel flashed in the dark. Kale threw his entire weight into a brutal downward slash. The blade severed its thick front limb, sending a massive shower of black, foul-smelling oil across the ruins. "I told you not to listen to it!" Kale roared over the deafening mechanical screech, dragging me violently out of the creature's reach. My lungs burned. It sounded exactly like Orion, I gasped, my entire body shaking uncontrollably. It used his voice to hunt me. But the nightmare below the clouds never truly ended. Blue magical tendrils shot out from the monster's core, instantly pulling its severed limb back into place. Worse, the ancient stone walls around us began to hum. Dozens of dormant mechanical eggs clinging to the ruins violently pulsed with bright blue energy. We had nowhere left to run. We sprinted blindly through the twisting industrial corridors, heavy metal doors slamming shut right behind us, sealing away the clicking swarms. Kale shoved exactly one final rusted hatch open. We stumbled into a massive, glowing underground observation deck. I walked slowly toward the giant glass window. Below us, suspended in thousands of glowing, transparent pods, were human bodies. A giant mechanical arm lowered a young boy into an empty pod. Instantly, a violent stream of white energy was ripped violently straight out of his small chest. As the energy was drained, his skin instantly turned a sickening, dull gray, the exact identical symptom of the plague that was slowly killing my brother. The sickening truth hit me like a physical blow. I slammed my bare palms against the freezing, reinforced glass. "The grayout isn't a disease," Kale whispered, pointing at the massive energy pipe feeding straight up into the clouds. "It's an industrial harvest. The elite sky dwellers were literally draining the life force of the poor to power their precious, luxurious magic. The Inquisition wasn't protecting us, they were farming us. I won't let them take another breath from our people," I snarled, grabbing a heavy iron wrench from a rusted tool rack. Kale immediately stepped into my path, firmly gripping my wrist. "Are you insane? Destroying that console will trigger a catastrophic pressure overload." "Good, let it burn." I stared right back into his golden eyes. "My brother is dying up there. We are shutting this slaughterhouse down forever." I yanked my arm free and swung the heavy wrench with every ounce of my rage. The glowing central glass cylinder shattered violently into a million brilliant pieces. A massive shockwave of pure energy erupted, throwing us violently backward across the cold metal floor. The room instantly plunged into a hellish crimson red. The agonizing shriek of a Citadel security alarm echoed downward from the heavens. But we didn't have time to celebrate the sabotage. The ceiling vent exploded, and a towering, heavily armored Inquisitor dropped directly between us. We had finally hurt the gods, and now they had descended to collect our debt in blood. The glowing spear thrust toward my chest, carrying the stolen life of 1,000 souls. Kale threw himself in front of me. His steel blade met the magical weapon with a deafening metallic screech, but human strength was completely useless against a god. The Inquisitor kicked Kale with impossible force, sending him crashing into the rusted generators. Before I could grab another weapon, blinding magical chains wrapped around my wrists and throat, violently lifting me off the freezing floor. "The High Citadel demands your presence, rats," the armored giant growled, his voice vibrating with absolute zero empathy. The ascent was a blinding blur. I was slammed onto a floor of pristine white marble. The air here didn't smell of ash. It smelled of sterile perfection. A figure stepped out of the blinding light. He wasn't wearing armor. He wore immaculate silk, and dangling from his fingers was a very familiar tarnished metal chain. My breath caught in my throat. It was Orion's necklace. "Your brother's grayout is accelerating, Lyra," he whispered with a chillingly gentle smile. "Welcome to the harvest." "Your brother's grayout is accelerating, Lyra. Welcome to the harvest." The metal necklace clattered against the perfect marble floor. I snatched the necklace into my bruised palm. "Where is he? What did you do to him?" I screamed, ignoring the magical chains cutting into my wrists. The High Inquisitor waved his hand. The massive white wall dissolved into transparent glass. Outside, an impossibly beautiful floating utopia glittered in eternal sunlight. "Look at this paradise, Lyra," he said smoothly. "No hunger, no disease, but perfection demands fuel. We only take the magic from those too weak to use it. You are murdering children to power your streetlights," I spat, pulling violently against my bindings until my skin bled. He ignored my rage, producing a small crystal vial of blinding, pure silver mana. "Submit to the Citadel, renounce your rebellion, and I will give Orion enough magic to live a full life." The offer was poison, but it was exactly what I had fought through hell to find. For a second, I actually hesitated. What if submission was the only way?